Well, here we are, Daresbury Show stationary engines, 1929 Gardner 3J5 2-stroke diesel. That is absolutely huge. Open crank. Watching the sun the wrong way at the moment to do any good filming. Bamford, 1.5 horsepower twin flywheel. Driving a water pump. Another Bamford. That one's driving a water pump and a reduction gearbox. Aero motor, 8-cycle gasoline engine, made in Illinois, USA. That is beautiful. Here we have a very original Bamford open crank hit and miss. This is a very big engine. 4 horsepower, thank you. 4 horsepower at 450 RPM. All the history's there, look. Originally sold on the 30th of December 1932 in factory to Davies of Lampeter, Wales. All the info there, not good. Totally untouched. In as found condition. Amazing. Something rather miniature here is the Tom Senior with a dynamo, open crank gas engine, very nice. Switchboard with a few lamps around it, lovely. And the Bamford. 2.5 horsepower that one. Wilson engine, circa 1910, 1.5 horsepower, with an outrigger bearing. 2-stroke of course. Moving on now, we have a lovely British engine, a Ruston Hornsby open crank, bottle governed, 4 horsepower, circa 1924. Ruston Hornsby, a very high quality British engine. See there just how far the piston comes out the cylinder in order to make sure that it gets well lubricated from the lubricator above. Beautiful. American engine, Alamo. Got the impulse built in 1923, 1.5 horsepower at 600 RPM. That's a really lovely, neat little engine that. Hidden misgoverned and with an internal fuel tank. Beautiful. Another very small engine, a T&M. This engine, circa 1914. Petrol. Gorgeous little engine that would fit in the corner of my shed beautifully. Moving on, we've got a big Bradford drag saw here. It's a bit over restored, but it's very, very nice. Doing a day's work, you see, sawing a log. Wonderful. Moving on. This is one of the later ones with a chain driven magneto. That one looks about 1940 or thereabouts, or can't see the spec on that one, but driving a water pump. Vincent, who made motorcycles, also made stationary engines. This one here, a 1950 Vincent Marine engine. I'm sure a Vincent collector would pay a lot of money for that. That is a very, very rare engine. Moving on, we have an Amanco 2 1/4 hit and miss. Very nice indeed. One of the early ones with the horizontal striker arm for the igniter. Very nice. Fairbanks Morse. Okay, open crank. This is a Lister Junior or Lister A, as they are often known. They are a very, very heavy engine then. I've had one of them myself. The weight of one is literally unbelievable for what they are. Solid lump of cast iron. Here we have a Bernard French engine, water-cooled stationary engine, driving a reduction box, driving a bandsaw sharpener. As the file files the teeth, see it moves round a tooth at a time. Very interesting piece of kit. Okay, moving on. Big engine here, so I've had to take the focus back a bit. Another absolutely whopping side shaft Ruston Hornsby. Petrol, probably about 4 or 5 horsepower maybe. Oh, it's the log sheet. 5 AP, yeah, 5 horsepower. I wasn't far wrong there, I was just about spot on. Open crank, driving a large water pump. I think I've seen this one before, and again another Lister petrol tank-cooled engine. Lister L 1929 circa, driving an alternator running those lights. Oh, there we are, 1929 written on it. There we are, driven from the flywheel as they should be. You also see it's got some frost damage above the flywheel, what's been welded, and that occurs in the winter time when people leave water in them and temperatures freeze. It breaks a hole into the cast iron jacket around the cylinder. Blue Lister D, well that's certainly different. later on, driving water pump, 1930. If it's got where the oiler goes, if it's got a blanking plate on the other side, it's a 39. Hang on. No, it hasn't, but unusually it's got a passing on the cylinder head, which says the 16th of the 8th, 1939, which is rather unusual because usually that year they had the D309 cylinder head, and that's the 1062 cylinder head, so that's unusual. Ruston Hornsby 1.5 horsepower. These were simulated with the Wolseley engine. Rather similar design, but a different make and a slightly different casting. Coburn engine driving water pump. And next to that we have a Packet A1, 1.5 horsepower. The very first engine I started with one of these. Air cooled, simple stationary engine. Another Lister D, this is an earlier one with a shaft drive and the D309 cylinder head and the different fuel tank driving the water pump. Very nice, not the original Magneto, but very nice. Petrol mill and a water pump. Here we have a gorgeous model of Manco. I tried to put an offer in for £1,500 for this engine last year, and the man wouldn't accept it, which I found was absolutely unbelievable. That's a gorgeous little engine. Flywheels are about 5 inches diameter or thereabouts. Beautiful little thing. Moving on. John Deere enclosed crank. Hit and miss. Now one of my favourites, a Jaeger. Look at that colour, that blue is to die for. The log seat with this one. So it says 1927 2 horsepower petrol. That is lovely, and the lining and things on it. You can't really see the blue in this light. But by God, she looks beautiful. Here we have another Lister Junior, very big heavy engine, very heavy indeed, driving a water pump. Moving up, over restored but looking very nice indeed. Bradford, enclosed crank. Really nice. Moving to this corner, I know what this is, so I've had one of these. It's a big Douglas X lawnmower engine. They are huge. Driving that belt which drives a line shaft, and in turn drives the drill, a little power hacksaw, bandsaw, and there's probably more things around the other side. But that is absolutely lovely. Just chugging away, ticking over there, nice and slow. Not doing any stressful work whatsoever, and driving everything so effortlessly. Really nice. Yes, I said there might be more on the other side. Just driving a couple of saws, bandsaw there. 2 saws actually. Really, really nice. It's a shame that the sun's against us, so we can't get this properly. There we are.
I've always said
Gorgeous. Here we have a skeletonized Lister D engine. Cut away so you can see all the internals working. Look at that, isn't that wonderful? Next to it we have a Ruston Hornsby driving an alternator and a water pump. Here we have a gorgeous little Red Wing engine driving a man hitting an anvil, and next to it is the owner to give you some sort of feel of the size of this little engine. Beautiful. And he's also the builder as well, and you have to admit he's done an absolute job with this little engine. That is just gorgeous and a credit to him, and I'd like to thank him very much indeed for displaying it for everybody to enjoy. That's lovely.
I've seen it before here, and you don't get dizzy. No, you're just looking at focusing on it.
There we are, little Stirling engine driving a generator, which in turn is turning that wheel with LEDs on it, going at a lovely relaxed pace. Down here we have a Villiers V1C 2-stroke engine driving a dynamo, driving a reduction box, driving a grindstone. Very nice. There's something different here. Danziger marine engine, 2-stroke. Boy, look at that smoke. Here we have a huge Lister diesel twin cylinder driving a mighty alternator. That alternator alone must weigh 300 weight. Very nice. Moving on to the last exhibit we have here. So the Lister engine, it's a Lister L, that one, from probably 1920s or early 30s, trip mag. So it's a 20s one, that one. Climax water pump, and it's got screen cooling, driving an alternator. Oh, there's a log sheet here. This L, 450 RPM, 1920s. Yeah, I was spot on. There we are. It's a shame the sunlight is the wrong way, so a lot of these things are in like a shadow because they're the wrong side of the sun, but never mind. That's the stationary engines at Daresbury Rally for 2026. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.